What is going on, people? Welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying the day, evening, and all that good stuff. Back with another live, and I'm excited to host this event. This is the unofficial but globally recognized LinkedIn Creator Program reunion featuring a few people that I was able to create with in my subgroup, people I talk to on the regular. Just why don't we kind of check in? It's been a little over a month since the program ended, and it's almost like all the birds like just kind of flocked away, just kind of flew kind of back to what they were doing, starting to go into other ventures, or like me, just kind of sitting around like, oh, that was a lot. Let me take a break real quick. Let me reassess and just see how I feel right now. So I'm joined in with four people, one soon to come, four members, just to really dig into what this experience was like for them, a conversation about capacity, and seeing what they're up to next. So, first up is Liz Liba. Liz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Walter. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Could not do one of these without including you in this. I don't think you would let me live it down. Um, can you tell everyone real quick what was your concept for the LinkedIn Creator Program?
Um, my concept was to continue to work on amplifying Black history, Black culture, Black liberation on the LinkedIn platform, but to find more creative ways of doing it. So to just up the ante in terms of creating original content, video content, and just exploring different ways to continue to amplify my voice on the platform, particularly around issues concerning Black folk in America.
Okay. And you were going hard before LinkedIn too. So like being in this program, what but before like that, not talking about the actual program, but before when you found out you got in, what were some of the feelings going on? Were you excited? Were you just like, okay, I'm just doing some of the regular? Like what do you remember what the feeling was like when you got that you're in?
When I got the "you're in," actually, I thought somebody was pranking me. I'm like, is this real? Am I really in? Or maybe somebody's playing a joke on me? I really didn't think I would get in because
hmm
I literally applied at the last minute and I was unsure about, if there was, for the past couple of years, I've always felt like, well, is there a place for this kind of um, content? Is something I hear pretty much on a daily basis. Even on a post I just posted about support Black men, people are like, "Hey, this is a Facebook, get this out of
hmm
here," things like that. So I was a little hesitant, but once I did get the news that I was in, I was happy. I was like ecstatic because it did give me a sense of, even though I kind of felt like, well, if I don't get in, it is what it is. It did give me that validation, like, wow, it is recognized that my platform is something that's valuable, and I do bring content that people want to see and hear on the platform.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I'm glad you got in too. It was really dope. Real quick, I got a few people in the building. Mike Warner, what's up? Mike was in the program with us. Tiffany Costado, what's up? Yes, we got to do a live together too, actually. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna keep moving on to the next person because we got a great lineup today, y'all. Next up is Zephreen Hanson. Zephreen, how are you doing?
I am doing well, Walter. Hi, Liz. Thank you, Walter.
Yes. Can you share with everyone what your creator concept was?
My creator concept was to talk about agricultural through the view of the BIPOC community, primarily a Black woman's view because I'm a Black woman. So that is how I'm experiencing farming and agriculture, but also that I came to that through mental health and wellness. So that was the lens that I came to the program with.
All right. I'm gonna ask you the same question. And also Zephreen for the day one attendees. You already know Zephreen was a past guest. We talked about her whole experience and more. But can you share a little bit about the day you saw the email that you're in? What were some of the feelings going on?
I'm going to be honest, I felt relieved because when I saw the program, my goal was to learn about content creating, like from really an educational pickup tools point of view. because, a lot of different people do it in different ways. So I felt like this was an opportunity for me and that it was mine. And so I wanted it, right? So it felt like I was on the right path for me personally, regardless of, what LinkedIn was possibly looking for. For me, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back into storytelling as a profession again. I mean, I'm a former Air Force photojournalist, so I did this. They just called it something different back in the 90s. And so now it's called content creating or influencing, but you're telling stories. And so to me, LinkedIn, out of all the platforms, it was the one that I felt wasn't messy. And whereas the other ones I just felt were messy. And not that there's not good information there, but I want good information. I still want to be able to laugh and have a good time, but I don't want the messy.
I feel that. We're going to talk about that too a little later. But up next, we got Jahmaal Marshall. Jahmaal, welcome to the stage. How you doing?
What's going on, bro? Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. All right. So can you share what your creator concept was for LinkedIn?
Robin, yeah. So my creator content was all about establishing boundaries for busy professionals. That's what LinkedIn has. And how to do that in a way where you make sure you guard your headspace, your heart space while you're creating content during your career journey. And also to not fear the trolls. How to deal with trolls in a way that is redemptive, that actually turns their spells on them. And I was happy to accomplish that.
Man, I'll say real quick before we go to the next person. I was surprised by the number of trolls on LinkedIn. I was surprised to me, but they out there for real. Jahmaal, I feel like you should have like a monthly session with all of LinkedIn to be like, all right, y'all, let's get into it for real. What's going on? Like, we need some healing. So I'm gonna start that campaign.
That's definitely coming. I want to give a shout out to my sis Tiffany Castano in the crowd. What's up, Mike? What's up, Dr. Zephreen Lopez? I like to say hi to everybody. But it was really fun to actually continue to do what I've been doing. I was quite surprised when Xander was like, yeah, he said, you actually just been doing this. Actually doing this for LinkedIn Creator Accelerator. So I was like, all right, let's bring it. Let's go.
All right, that's what's up. Oh, we got Christopher in from Detroit. Y'all definitely check out everything that Christopher's got going on. Really great podcaster, really great show that he does live on the regular. All right, next up we got Marlo. Marlo, how are you doing? What's going on?
Yo, what's up, everyone? What's good?
Yo.
Chilling, man. I'm chilling. My son's he's finally running out of energy. I was chasing him all day, so now he's just chilling. And I'm very excited to be here and to talk about, our experience.
Nice. How old's your son?
He's 3.5 right now.
Man.
Terrible twos or terrific twos came in a little late because I'm feeling it right now with him.
It's like a triple threat. It's like times 3. That's what I don't have kids. But Marlo, can you share a little bit what your creator concept was for the LinkedIn Creator Program?
Yeah, so my concept was what it was like to go from emerging to established. And it was following my journey from teaching in juvenile hall and working in government to resigning and starting my own video production agency. And so the title of the series was called Yellow Rice. And it was a homage to my mom. I called it Yellow Rice because my mom, she raised 4 kids on her own. And when we didn't have much to eat, she would get these like soft boiled eggs, put them some warm rice, put some fish sauce on it. And to us, that was like a very happy meal. And so, taking something out of nothing and making something marvelous out of it is kind of like the metaphor that I've seen with my film career, how I was able to do so little to then being, a globally recognized video production agency owner and film director. And so the conversations was, how did we get there? How did I get there? What are ways from people from my community or creators from a low-income background can become an entrepreneur and a solopreneur.
That's all right, y'all. I want everyone watching to join me. I just applaud everyone real quick because y'all did your thing 10 weeks straight, 4 posts at the minimum, but y'all did more. Y'all went in. Y'all went in. It was really cool. Like not only being in the program with you, but like for real, just like following y'all, engaging with your content, because I feel like y'all each, as the program went on, started to just pull even more from within and develop the content. And I know Jahmaal, you always talk about being grassroots and everything, and just adding on different skills. Marlo out here saying all the behind the scenes, the cuts, how this video production goes down. Zephreen, like you really, well, first off, your videos, like every single time you do a video outdoors, just feels calming. Even if you're just sharing like some of the most stressful stuff, it's like, I need a calm app to hit you up, sign you or something, because that was really dope. And then Liz out here on domination mode, just like constantly all over the place. But I love just like every single time I check you, like not even just posting, but really just coming hard with the content, really guiding us. So I wanted to ask that question about the initial. Oh, Jahmaal Marlow, real quick, what was it like when y'all first got the I'm in moment? Like when you got the letter, the email saying, "Yo, we want you for the LinkedIn program."
Let me give you some background real quick. So the background is I totally didn't know anything about LinkedIn Accelerator. And Travis Lackner was like, hey, he sent me a post and said, you need to apply for this. And so he said, you need to talk to a guy named Xander Van Gogh. And I was thinking, what's a Xander Van Gogh? Is he some type of artist on LinkedIn? I don't know who that is. But he linked him in the thing. And Xander was like, I DM'd you 5 weeks ago. And I was like, oh shoot. So I actually went back through my DMs because you know how the LinkedIn DMs be. It's like, what y'all trying to sell me carpet? I got hard control, you know. And I saw that thing and I was like, oh shoot. And he had all this information, all this stuff he was sending me. So I checked that out, applied for the program. He said, I will become your creative manager. So we just started kicking it. It was super grassroots for me. And then I applied for the thing. I looked at all these people that was applying and I was like, it ain't no way that they're gonna pick me out of all these other people. And so when I got the letter, I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Out of like 1,000 people, little old me, because I'm super grassroots and I've just shared like my content. When you hear me, you hear me. When you see me, you see me. Um, it was like, okay, that's cool. And I didn't so much feel validated. It more so just put icing on the cake. I've been hearing for about a better part of a year and a half, like, Jahmaal, you could be the next Mike Jordan of this platform if you want to be. But I chose to stay strictly organic. No engagement pods, no viral content, no nothing. So I've literally taken the long road. So it just goes to show that the long road actually works. And you trust God, he'll open the doors. So that's me.
Love that. Marlo, what about you? What was that feeling like?
Yeah, I think it was like a week before. Do you remember? Was it Instagram that went down for like it was like temporarily went down? Was that December or January? So it went down for a moment, and I was promoting one of my recording artists that I consult for, that I do cinematography for and direct. And we were trying to launch this project, and we were trying to share it, but Instagram wasn't working, and we're like, Instagram's shut down. Hey, I'm gonna post this on LinkedIn and see what happens. And I posted it on LinkedIn. I've always kept like my world separate, my professional world, what I do as a video agency owner, and then what I do as a film director and entertainment. I've always kept those worlds separate. But when I posted my music video that I directed on LinkedIn, an old mentor of mine commented and said, hey, you should be posting more of these on LinkedIn. And I was like, really? Like, you think people care about this? Like, they want to see my entertainment. I always felt like they want to see my corporate work. And so my boy Gabe connected me to Xander, and Xander and I had a conversation, and he loved my work. He's seen some of the other work that I did and my other documentaries, and he told me to apply, and went to apply for it. And there was just so much going on that weekend. And I just remember, I don't know if it was a weekend or weekday, but I just remember I was literally like an hour before the deadline. And I was just trying to like finish the application, the submission and everything. And for some reason, there was an issue. I like attached the video, but the video wasn't submitting in the application. I was like, what the hell's going on? Why is this not working? And it was like a technical issue, because why would it allow me to attach the video when I could just attach it differently in the application? So I was 5 minutes beyond the submission deadline, but I was like, I sent an email saying, look, I already had it before 11 o'clock or 12 a.m. or whatever it was. And so I thought I wasn't going to get in because I hit that cutoff mark. But, when I received the notification that we got it, my wife and I celebrated. And it was just kind of, my way of feeling like this could be a therapeutic way to talk about my experience the last 9 years as an agency owner, as a filmmaker, while at the same time honoring my mom. I don't think I mentioned when I was talking about Yellow Rice, I was paying homage to her because my mom passed away last year of June 10th. And so there's a lot of feelings, a lot of trying to make sure I don't get any memories lost in the shuffle. So when I was notified about it, we celebrated because it was just my way of, know that I could go through this journey of healing while telling my story.
Well, that's beautiful. Kind of sharing that on the world stage too. That's a great way to honor your mom. Shout out to Sally Wolf, said smiling as I can totally relate to that moment. I had the same problem with the video. I took a picture of my computer / timestamp. Man,
Yep.
that's crazy.
I wasn't alone. I wasn't alone.
You weren't. You weren't.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Yes. So I don't know about y'all. So when I got accepted, I was super hyped. I was like, yeah, I made it. I'm like, delete my number. Oh, y'all can't see me anymore. All that stuff. But and then, as the program got closer, I felt all this like imposter syndrome and almost like was thinking like, did they actually mean me? So like I was waiting until the day they announced, like, okay, yeah, I'm in there for real. And it's a really cool moment. And then once the program began, I think that I started to pivot just a little bit because I had this initial plan of what everything was going to be like, the list of all the content I was going to create. But then as I got into it, I realized I needed to shift quite a little bit. So just real curious, like thinking about that day you got in and then maybe like that second week in the program, did anything change for you? Like what was it like when you were like in it for real? I'm going to start with Zephreen.
I will be very honest. The very first week of the program, I had several tragedies around loss and death and suicide happen in my communities that I love. And I'm a farmer because it helps with my mental health. It really does keep me grounded. So, and then I have a farm business because I want to pay for that. So, real quick, I had to use all my tools and it was new for me. I had not, worked for a corporation in a long time and I had to ask for help. And it was hard. I'm not going to lie. I came in being like, I'm going to start content creating. I'm going to be the next Oprah, Issa, everybody. This is how I'm doing it. Let's go. Right. Like that was my energy. And then, I have struggled with suicide ideation. And so I was watching this happen in my community and I had achieved something and the feeling didn't go away. And that was terrifying to me because I thought, okay, once I achieve these things, even though I have a therapist, have a spiritual walk, and I know better, it was supposed to fix whatever this is. And so it was real jarring, but it's interesting that the people who were on this call were really helpful because Jahmaal, we didn't know each other, but he was putting out content about mental health. And I was like, all right, I might be okay if I like reach out to people. Liz was just like so welcoming in every class. And I was like, okay, I might be okay if I'm honest, right? And so my real life was tested during the program. Like, do I use these tools? Can I do this? Can I still create even on the days where I don't quite feel, quote, perfect? So yeah, those first couple of weeks for me, it was real dicey as like a mental health standpoint and, my family being a support. And then just really throughout the program, I continued to realize like, oh, I'm about to get healed during this program or I'm not going to make it. And unfortunately, it's going to happen on the world stage. Either I'm going to get healthy or I'm going to make a permanent decision over the stress of this 10 weeks. And so I'm just grateful genuinely for everyone here. And Marlo, thank you for sharing because I felt that of, still wanting to celebrate and not lose memories, but having real emotions and real grief. So thank you. And I feel you. And thank you for sharing.
What do you think? And by the way, y'all, this is real loose, so y'all could pop in and talk whenever. But just like as you move forward to continue to create, because it's not like the program's over, but you're not done. what are some like practices that you're kind of following or maybe trying to develop to just keep you in a place where you can continue to just move forward or just be present?
I can maybe tackle that. Um, Really, a lot. It's not like rewriting the wheel. Um, I think, if any of y'all seen my content, y'all know you usually find me out in the woods, meditating, praying, just walking. And so really taking that time to get centered, to get still. I live like right in the inner city, right in DC, right here in Southeast in the thick of it. And so I go 4 miles actually from where I live at to get into a civil war for it. And so I've been doing that I'm new to social media, really. Like most people been on Instagram, Facebook for years. I came on in 2020, straight up grassroots. And so for me, it's just continuing to do those things. And even when I don't feel like it, like I had a really nasty foot injury, Tiffany would know last summer where I went into a depression. I stopped taking clients, I stopped podcasting. I just kind of went on hiatus because I wasn't in motion. And so keeping my body in motion enough and then getting still and going into prayer and meditation, and not just prayer and meditation to be like this weird mindfulness thing, but listening. Like listen and speak is not just a brand, it's my life. It's my life on and offline. And I think by God's grace, that's what translates through LinkedIn and through different platforms, is because people know I'm not here faking this. This is not marketing. I haven't shot this through Canva and Fiverr. I'm living this the best I know how, highs and lows, victories and failures. And so that's what keeps me grounded. And like Marlo, I can relate, even though it happened a little over 4 years ago, I lost my dad. Um, and so I think about him celebrating with me those highs and those times when things happen. I'm like, man, these are answers to your prayers, Daddy. And so yeah, that's what keeps me, grounded, and what keeps me in that place of, even when I don't feel like creating content, I feel like being on LinkedIn. And y'all know I went on hiatus for 8 days. Okay. Because I'm in prayer and because I'm in meditation, I don't need LinkedIn to validate me. I'm validated by my creator. I can rest in that. And when I come back, I'm not coming back for likes and comments. I'm coming back because I like myself. Your like is extra. And when those extra likes come, hey, let's do business. Let's go for it. Let's get into it. And I'm okay with that. I hope that
Mm.
answers the question.
Yeah, it does. It does. Do you at what point was that break again? I do remember when you went on break, but when did you kind of just step away?
That was like right after, that was actually right before our graduation. So that was at the end of March 30th. I hit a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because the question you asked, Zephreen, January, I had COVID and I had long COVID. So I was literally, all the content you were seeing, I was hanging on by a thread. I could barely stay awake. And so I was surprised that people were picking up what I was putting down. I was like, what did I type again? And did it follow the guidelines? Because the chronic fatigue, I mean, COVID it really rocks your body. And so catching COVID, coming into a brand new year, obviously I'm a counselor, podcaster on LinkedIn, but I also have a career in anti-human trafficking, anti-slavery. That's just a lot of weight to carry.
It's heavy.
Yeah, and so which is why you don't see me with a whole bunch of comical. People say I'm funny, but I usually show up, kind of up here because I deal in heavy spaces. And so with all that weight, I had to make sure I was in prayer and meditation. And and I think we all online can look like, yo, I got it together, but it's like offline, I'm like, I just want to be able to wake up the next day and make sure I can catch my next breath. So getting out to nature helped me. All right, let's get some carbon dioxide in these lungs so I can keep moving. Um, and as God will give me grace, just give to the people what He's given me. I take that dictation from the Most High, and I just translate that in a way that's applicable.
Mm. I feel that. I feel that. I think what was interesting for me as I was in the program, I feel like around January or February, it's like in some way everyone's personal life, there's just something going on heavy. And it was really cool that, the people in charge of the program creating it a couple times throughout the program, they're like, all right, y'all, if you can post. If not, just take care of you. And that was really beautiful. And it really just taught me about capacity, right? And just capacity and ambition. And I think that's something that everyone, if you don't relate to it, you need to start thinking about it for real. Whether you're a creator, entrepreneur, professional, like we're only human and can only do so many things. And that it was kind of nice because it felt like I was allowed to just be me and really feel. everything that I was feeling. So, and Marlo, actually, I'm going to pass this over to you. But during the program, was there any point in time where you felt like you were at capacity?
Hell yeah. There's definitely many times. Like, same thing for me. Like when Omicron happened, I got hit too. Like, so I was, bedridden during Christmas, and I had the long one too, the chronic, version of COVID where my headspace just felt slower and the cough like was just long. Um, and so coming into the new year, I was feeling that weight, and then there was other personal things going on in my life too. I didn't have the opportunity to share on LinkedIn, and I'm only gonna open a little bit of a window of what it was. But when you lose a loved one, of course, there's like estate disputes and whatnot, and I'm in that really hurt. I'm trying to still continue to grieve, and one of our siblings is making claim to wanting to own everything, and that really is it was really painful to go through that and needing to go through litigation, reach to a lawyer while I'm still grieving, and then now I'm kicking off this LinkedIn program, and then like that happens, and so yeah, that weight got really heavy, and then the second week I lost a good friend of mine, producer Trax a Million. He's a producer known for developing the hyphy sound out of the Bay Area. One of the first mentors that gave me an opportunity to get my directing and music video work on a national scale. So I lost him on the second week. So everything just started kind of getting so heavy and coming at me at all angles. And I remember I had a moment. I went for a walk and I was just like, this ain't nothing new. Like I've been through times when there was a lot of walls that I had to hit to get out the maze. So I just got to tough it out. Ain't nobody got to know what it is, what I'm going through. I just can't make any excuses. I just got to give my best and give my all, jab, jab, hook where I can, and then every now and then counterpunch. And so that that's what I went through. Like from the beginning to the second week, it kind of changed the whole trajectory of what I wanted to do. And so personally, I feel a little disappointed that I didn't get to tell the stories that I really wanted to tell because everything kind of shifted at that time point in those 10 weeks. And then the stories that I wanted to tell, I didn't have the heart for it anymore. Like I felt like I wanted to tell more stories about being a father. I wanted to tell more stories about a different point in my life where I'm saying no to projects so I can have more time with my family. Um, and so it definitely shifted. A lot of different things was happening, and I just thought, I got to weather the storm, and I hope in the process that I can at least be someone that can inspire or help someone out or connect somebody. And it was just always funny because when I started off, like LinkedIn wasn't my first platform. So when I was posting, I was getting like no, I was like getting like 5, 6, like reactions. But then in the midst and far away, there was Walter. Walter, you were always just like, you like keep going, like always showing me support every post that I had, even though it was like 3 reactions, 5 reactions. And that kept me going. And so, I really appreciated that love. Like you really showed me that love. And yeah, so that's kind of the journey of it. My capacity. I kind of felt like I was gonna, go into boot camp for the 10 weeks, and things behind the scenes started happening. And so, um, but yeah, went through it as best as I could.
Mm. Man, it's interesting. Kind of shared that you felt a little disappointed about some of the things you didn't get to touch on. But what's also interesting is like some of the things you mentioned. I feel like I still got that from your content. Still got some stories from your just being a parent, being a family. And what I think is interesting also is just as I continue just to be in this content world, I'm just learning a lot about authenticity and transparency. And we really don't have to kind of give it our all, like tell everybody like every single thing possible, but still give kind of moments of us in the content we create, like little slivers of, I guess, of truth in a way. And speaking of just like giving it our all, Liz, really curious, like, because you were posting on LinkedIn before the program, like heavy. constantly, daily, just giving it your all. When you think about authenticity in the stories you tell, what are some things that you kind of keep in mind when you're like telling people or talking about some of the issues that we're facing in this world?
I think my motivation in 2020 when I started originally posting was just to try to find somewhere to put my trauma. And I didn't really know where to put it. I didn't have anyone to talk to because we were in the middle of a pandemic. So I wasn't going to work. I was working from home. And there was really no one around to really express a lot of frustration I felt with what I was seeing around the country. When George Floyd was murdered, I felt really triggered just by seeing a man being killed on television and in such graphic detail. I had avoided it on social media and I saw it on TV. I think my TV was playing and it was like CNN or something. And I saw the video finally. I don't like to watch those kinds of graphic things with like Black folk or brown folk being killed because immediately a lot of the rhetoric is that person should have complied. Why was that person in the wrong place? Like, what were they doing? A lot of blaming. And I have been a victim of racial profiling. I was arrested when I was 19 for accused of stealing a pack of batteries. And nobody knew about it. And I think that was what my motivation was initially in posting. I have breath. I didn't try to run from the police. And my mom, when she picked me up from jail and I bonded out, because I caught a petty theft charge for a $2 pack of batteries. And she had to drive like 5 hours to come pick me up after I bonded out. And she's like, like, you didn't want to run? Like when they took you outside, because they didn't want to handcuff me inside the store. They wanted to start a commotion inside the store. So they took me outside in the parking lot. And I said, it was a moment right before they handcuffed me when I scanned the parking lot. And I was like, could I get away from them? Like if I took off running right now, I got sneakers on. Like, is this somewhere? It's weird how your mind works in that fight or flight. And I think hearing a lot of the rhetoric of, oh, he should have just complied, it just made me feel like I got to just tell people everything. So my content in terms of like the authenticity piece and transparency and being very vocal and not holding anything back was that LinkedIn just became my diary. People told me I work in higher ed, it's like conservative, even though you think it's like people are liberal, just walking around spouting out ideas. People are very conservative in higher ed, and people told me don't do it. You're gonna have a target on your back. It's gonna look bad. You're looking like the Fight the Power girl. And I was like, I really don't care because I'm feeling very triggered by what's happening. And if I'm triggered, everybody about to be triggered. This is how I run my life. If you mess with me, you're gonna get messed with. And I felt like the world had messed with me by George Floyd being murdered in front of my face. And I just made a commitment. If I had breath in my body, he didn't have breath. He didn't have ability to get up and speak and function, but I did. So that's why I started creating content in 2020. I posted every day. I have not stopped. Sometimes I post 2 times a day, sometimes 3 times a day. I never had like a concept of, oh, well, you got to post between 10 a.m. and noon, and you got to make sure that it's a certain length and it's got to be a certain type of content. I was just like, whatever the hell is on my mind, whatever I think these people need to know, I'm about to tell them off, snatch their edges. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll be waking up like, people need to know about this because this is getting on my nerves. They need to quit it. And that was really what I did, in my journey. I didn't really have no ulterior motive other than a lot of times I did use viral content, because what I found with the viral content is the message that I'm giving people. They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that America's built on racism and that everything, the foundation of this country is flawed. So I'll give you a video of somebody twerking, and guess what? Twerk y'all ass to the bank and give us some reparations. How about that? Because it's like they don't want to hear the truth. And I often found I'll put some shit and wrap it up in a bow with some nice wrapping paper. When you unwrap that shit, you can be like, oh God, what the hell? I didn't think this is what it was. Yeah, that's what you're getting as a gift. Because what y'all gave us when we came to this country, Black and brown folk, the struggle is real. I just felt like people need to know and understand that. And I think in the program, I approached it much the same way as, well, this is just another day for me to speak my truth. It became a lot more of me unwrapping myself rather than really unwrapping the content, but really going through a journey of, why am I doing this? What is the ultimate goal here? And that was pretty much when I got through the program. That was kind of like what I got out of it at the end.
I feel that. Real quick, want to shout out Sir Lex Kennedy. Appreciate you tuning in. Y'all, by the way, while we're going through this, if y'all have any questions for anyone on stage, feel free to drop them in there. If you're catching it on the replay, still drop questions and I will kind of spam them until they reply to them if they don't do it by themselves. Anyways, one more question for you, Liz, because it's real inspiring just seeing just you just continuing to go kind of daily. And it's almost like you said, if the world kind of triggers you, you're going to come back at them. Well, you're someone who's had to deal with the trolls at like a crazy, enormous rate. It's insane. And that's something that can really be draining. When you think about capacity, energy levels, like what is it that keeps you going to post daily and kind of finding that energy to just be on the platform as you are unapologetically without holding anything back?
Just the same thing. Like, it's almost like a responsibility. Somebody asked me this on a podcast a couple of days ago, and I'm like, it's the ancestors to me. Somebody is speaking to me, because if you would have told me this, I have friends. I have a very close girlfriend. She's a sorority sister of mine that she works for Ben Crump's law firm. She started working for him after Trayvon Martin was killed, because she's an attorney down here in South Florida. So she runs the Florida division of his law firm. And I remember seeing her getting involved with Ben Crump and saying, she's great. Like, what, girl? You want to work for Ben Crump and be involved with all that? Like, y'all can have it, because I don't need that stress. I got enough of my own personal stress, my family, being a wife, working. So I never really thought that this would be something I would do. But seeing the murder, seeing Ahmaud Arbery, seeing Breonna Taylor, just back to back to back, hashtag. I'm like, how would I be able to live without saying something when I know that this is something that it bothers me because it happened to me? And hearing some of the victim blaming and hearing some of this idea of, if someone's in brown skin, is almost a sense of disregard for their life. Like, well, Breonna Taylor, she shouldn't have been dating a drug dealer. I'm like, if dating a drug dealer was a death sentence, I'd have been dead a long time ago when I was at her age. Because where you come from a lot of times informs how you are. And just because we are at a certain stage now doesn't mean that at 19, 20, 25, whatever age, that we haven't been through a lot of these things. So I just felt like I had a responsibility to keep pushing forward. Magic Collins, who's also pretty active on the platform, much like Jahmaal, he talks a lot about mental health and addiction treatment. He's very active in the Bay Area, and he does like a lot of community outreach. And I remember him DMing me, I think he did, and he was just like, a lot of this that you're doing back and forth with the trolls, he's like, I'm not telling you what to do, but just be careful, because you are expending a lot of energy. And as a teacher, I respect that you want to inform people and you do want to counteract anything in the comments that is not true information. So I see what you're trying to accomplish. But he was like, also think about your own mental health, and think about, by you engaging back and forth, that energy that you're putting out, all of that negativity, all that cycle of going round and round in a circle. And in the end, did that person change their mind? And I'm like, no. So he was like, so think about what you're doing and just try to see if maybe you can ignore some of that stuff. I'm not saying that you never can interact with them, but just put yourself first when you're thinking about those interactions. And literally a light bulb turned on. And I said, you know what? I'm not arguing with no more trolls. And when they do post stuff, sometimes I'll do like some prayer hands. I'll do a shrug. Sometimes I don't do anything. Sometimes I delete what they said and I'll block them. Just depends, but I won't argue back and forth with them, because in my mind, it's like, what am I doing that for? So trolls, for me, I feel like I've come a long way from 2020, from having that conversation with him and from thinking about, how do I prioritize myself? There's something about speaking about Black liberation, Black celebration, Black pride, Black power. It just gets people really riled up. And it doesn't matter. It could be Black Girl Magic. I posted about UCLA, the girl that did the routine, and she did it to attribute to DMX, and she was growling and like throwing her hands up. And people were like, well, why is it Black Girl Magic? Can't it just be all girl magic? I'm like, no, it can't. Like, what is the problem? So it literally is always going to be a debate, when it comes to that type of stuff. So I've come a long way, I think, and just coming to terms with the idea that some people are just not ready to change. My husband's white, he's Italian. When I first started doing this, he said they like the dinosaurs, they just got to die out. I respect what you're doing, keep doing it, just do your thing. But he's like, some people are like dinosaurs, they're not ready for change. And I remember storming out of the room and feeling really mad at him that he said that. But I've come to that conclusion that there are a lot of people that are not ready for change. And this change, the things that I'm doing is not for me. It's for I always say my children. It might be for my great-grandchildren. And that's okay. Because I want to affect their lives positively as well.
We have to like send like a capsule to your great grandchildren, like, I'm the reason this is dope. Real quick, Tiffany, I just want to say I appreciate you in the comments. You're sending in love. It's felt. Appreciate you. Now, this goes to whoever jumps at it first. But during the program, 10 weeks, there was a lot going on, a lot of just mindset shifts, a lot of challenges. We spoke about some of them, but I'm really curious to hear about what was your favorite moment during the program, whether it's an interaction, a type of content you created, or just something completely different that just you were really excited about, had nothing to do with the program. Like, what was something during this 10-week period that happened that you just, it kind of sticks with you? You still feel it. Thinking back, it gives you those warm fuzzies.
I don't know if it's like warm fuzzies, but myself, you and Liz, we were in the same group. And like Zephreen, myself, you and Miller, we had like a subgroup of that group. Cause I'm like, how is Zephreen not in our group? She need to be there. Marlo was in our group. And I'm like, for me, it wasn't even the content, because my content was an extension of what I'd already been doing. But it was more like when Liz said she was posting multiple times a day, Liz, I was posting literally twice a week. I was like, that's all y'all gonna get from me, because I just don't feel like it. Maybe 3 times if I'm in a good mood. And I'm gonna sip tea the rest of the week. So to create that much content was a lot. So for me, just our group going into our DMs, and you learn so much from other content creators, because Q's in there, Z's in there, Ian's in there, Tiffany U is in there. They're posting so much, technical stuff. And I'm like, I'm grassroots. I need to learn this. And I just throw up a gift of Wendy Williams. I just had fun just doing that, just putting up Wendy, putting up a Fix It Jesus to Elizabeth's, putting up Megan Thee Stallion. I had fun just living while pumping out so much content and then taking clients, rebranding. It was a lot going on from a business standpoint that was just stellar. I mean, the receipts that it approved, but I just had fun just being me and just going into groups with like Zeph and Miller, and they got my number. They just call like, how you doing? And we would just talk and chill. So for me, that was like the highlight of the program, is just, because people can get caught up in oh, Randy's on this call, or oh, Q's going. I could care less about all that. From the dust we come, to the dust we return. People are people, baby. We all piss, poop, shower, and shave. Let's keep it a buck. I had fun just being Jahmaal and getting paid while I was doing it, and posting as many little troll and people in church shouting. I would be putting those gifts in our little comment section. I just had fun doing that. In that little WhatsApp group that people just be throwing all their content in, God bless them. I would just troll them with gifts. People like, here's mine for the day. I would just put Wendy Williams right up in there. All right, bye, y'all. Or Medea or somebody. I had fun just doing that. I know that's not the answer that you may be looking for, but that's my answer, bro. So God bless.
No, there's no perfect answer to these questions. Just curious, like your minds and everything. So I appreciate that, and appreciate your gift skills as well. You go hard with them. Go hard. Gift workshop coming soon.
Coming. Let's get into it.
Soon. Let's get into it.
Get into it.
Hey, I see what you did there. Yeah. Anyone else? Like, what's something that just kind of stands out to you during this program?
For me, similar to Jahmaal, like it was the relationships. I realized that I was a casual content creator, and it forced me to start to see content in different ways and try it out. But for me, it was the relationships and my own emotional mental health journey. I joke with LinkedIn, and anybody who knew that, my therapist and I got into that program. My therapist was on speed dial as things just started to unfold for me. And a lot of it was, I don't want to use the word trigger. I like the word illumination. But a lot of it was other people's content was showing me my shadow self and some work I needed to do. And so, to be honest, it wasn't fun, but it was one of my favorite things that was going on. And like to Marlo's point, I had real things going on as a mother, as a wife, and how I needed to show up better for my family and still create, and had to deal with some stuff that I should have done better. I know better now and I'm doing better, but there was like, wow, you know, I'll tease Jahmaal. He had some content and I was like, I do not find that funny. And then I went and processed, you know, that what I didn't find funny was that I still had some work to do. And so that is where most of my mind went during this, is that I'm a better person now, not just a better content creator, because when it's all said and done, of course, I would love the opportunity to have an Oprah Issa type life. But if you follow both of them, when they made it, they started being true to themselves. So if that meant that y'all saw me ugly cry on this platform, and now I'm a better mother and a better partner and a better friend and all these other things, then that was the best thing that came out of it for me. Nothing else. And so that was the surprise, because I really thought like I was going to achieve. That's what I wanted to get. And at the end, I was like, oh man, I went through a therapy session. Y'all told me all about myself. So, and then the support right here, like this right here, what you think. I think Jahmaal has it, quote, all figured out because he's encouraging me. But then when we actually have a relationship, it's like we're encouraging each other, right? And so I didn't have that before. So, and not with professionals, creatives that I have so much respect for, and like respect your work and content. Like, for me, that's what it was. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I'm glad I got to hang out with y'all tonight.
I feel that. Y'all stealing my answers, by the way. I was gonna come through with like, y'all were the best part. Marlo, Liz, any moments that stood out to you during the program?
I gotta say, a part that stood out to me was Marlo reached out to me and connected with me when I had like a little stumbling block situation where I was feeling a little bit like hurt, and was real encouraging and shared some of his own personal story, which I know was like private and not something that he had to share with me. But I think in that moment, he probably felt like it would help me feel a little bit more encouraged and help me to understand, you know, and process what I was going through. And I remember us interacting and thinking, wow, that was very, very brave and very selfless of him to share that, to help me. Okay. It's not all the time that you come across people that will put their own emotional well-being on the line and sacrifice even a smidgen of that to help you, you know, because it's not easy. And I have to say that stood out, and interactions with Zephreen stood out. Had interaction with Jahmaal, I had interaction with Walter. All of the connections that I made were what made this worthwhile. The people that I interacted with in the program, that made me feel like I wasn't alone. Like, I'm not weird. Like, am I weird that I'm just like wanting to create and wanting to have something beyond myself? It's not like my children and not a job, but it's something that I just love and want to put out into the world. And this program helped me to see that like there are other people that have these passions and these loves and these dreams as well. I'm not just out here by myself. So I think what Zephreen said and what everybody said is just, it was a journey of self-discovery. And I think that moment is one that really stood out to me. Like someone reaching out, like out the blue and being like, hey, are you okay? Because I can tell you a little bit about my story, and hopefully it'll help you feel more encouraged and feel better. And I think those connections that we all made are so real, and I appreciate them a lot.
I'm out of
here talking on mute, y'all. My bad. Yeah, this program is interesting. That's like part of why I ended up shifting so much, was just like leaning into just what I've been learning just from hearing y'all's stories, like both through your content and also like in the behind the scenes conversation. Um, and I'll Tiffany, I'll share kind of mine in a moment. But Marlo, I want to hear from you. What's a moment during the program that kind of sticks with you kind of throughout life?
Yeah. Self-discovery is really like a key word to this, right? I think we could approach this as much as we can as a content creator. You could approach something mechanically and methodically. You could be a scientist about it, right? And how you perceive what you do. But then there's this other aspect of a content creator where you're also being an artist. And to be an artist, you have to dig in different parts of your life, find inspiration in different places. And I love that word, Tiffany, the illumination, right? And just being reminded of different stages in your life that you realize you didn't think was still very present in you. And when I during that interaction with Liz, like I got reminded and felt and remembered what it felt like, to be looked upon, um, to be misunderstood. When my mom, uh, when my mom decided to, not have my father back in our lives again, it was the best. It was the best thing, like it was great for us because he was abusive. He was a gambling addict, and it was the right decision not to have him back into our lives, but it also meant, being homeless, right? And struggling to find housing. And, I'm 5 years old and, getting beat from my father. And it's just not it wasn't healthy to have him around. But what hurt me most, and I just remember being like a kid going to the grocery store, and my mom has 4 kids on her own, and she's struggling with all of us, like, because you got 4 boys, rowdy and running around. And I just remember people looking at us, like looking at my mom like it was her fault, I just remember family members blaming her for her marriage not going the certain way. Like, how is it her fault that, our father had his addiction? Like, that's not my mom's fault. Right. And so, yeah. And I remember there was an interaction with Liz in one of the chats, and a statistic that is just completely misconstrued and used in a way that to leverage someone else's argument, that, wasn't accurate. And I felt like was being used in a particular way that wasn't being true to the issues that occurred to single mothers. Um, and so it's those moments when you don't think you need friends that come in and you get reminded of. It's amazing how we're all like digitally connected, but we're all like getting connected with each other thousands of miles away. Um, the check-ins with Xander was like something that I was always looking forward to at the end of the week. I remember a moment when I just wasn't, it just wasn't a good week. It just wasn't a good day for me. And I was like, oh crap, I forgot I got this call with Xander. And then I'd hop on the call, and I just wasn't, I just wasn't my 100%. And, you know, I've always been aware of, when you share and express your vulnerability, making sure you can be held. And at that moment, I trust, there was a moment in my relationship with Xander where I was like, all right, I'm just going to tell you everything I'm going through right now. And so those encouragements, those check-ins, that was everything. And I think just the ability to put myself out there. I've always been the person behind the camera, right? And so to be able to finally put myself and brand myself and, tell my story, that was an opportunity of learning for myself. Um, and I didn't know that there were people in my past life that still remembered me from those instances that were on the platform of LinkedIn. I was 18 years old, disrupting city council meetings, right? Bringing in a drum, disrupting council meetings. I was an activist, right? My family and I were victims of police brutality, and I had to really, I took a camera and I'd go to the streets and do cop watch. You know what I mean? Like the areas where the neighborhoods where people were really getting affected from police brutality, I would stand out there with the mini DV tape camcorder and record. And that was my past life. And it was fascinating being a professional now, right? I don't show those aspects of myself, but to see old friends on LinkedIn hit me up and say, "Oh, look at you. You're doing it big now, huh? Do you remember those days when we used to disrupt council meetings? Do you remember we used to?" It was just, risk our lives doing cop watch. And, I had folks from teaching in prison and teaching in juvenile hall reach out to me and see, like, because that's my humble beginnings as a filmmaker. It was always about community and film, right? And so, yeah, like it was just meeting people, getting those weekly check-ins, and then having people from my past life, people in my past that I care about, reconnecting with me, and even more so building that network, allowing me to generate more revenue with my businesses and my companies. Just people from the past that still remember me being me, and reaching out and remembering how I made them felt. And so, yeah, the relationships are everything, and just being able to do it thousands of miles away from people, I didn't think that was possible.
I feel that. Yeah, it felt even though we're all in different areas, like it's like really felt connected, and just like knowing that not going through this program alone, just it felt good. It felt really good. I I think I shared it with some of y'all previously when we had our like recap call, but I think this program helped me to kind of find this inner confidence that's just never really existed. Like it's easy to kind of front like you like just put your best foot out there, you know, just the outward confidence is easy to kind of put on show, but like just internally with self-esteem and everything. So like getting into the program, it didn't really feel right, to be honest. And then just going through the everything, just week after week, just putting things out there. Um, just having y'all as the kind of support system, even though it wasn't necessarily like how to do this, but just knowing y'all were there were very helpful. But then also this one point, I got a message from someone who I've never had any interactions with on LinkedIn or anything, and they shared that they a video that I put out, they've kind of saved basically, and it's kind of helped them to as they prepare to leave their job. And that felt really good. It was like, yo, it's like when you think about a lot of people think about being a content creator, think about being like TikTok famous and all this stuff, but just having one person who was like, yo, that was actually really helpful. Appreciate you. That like I'll probably never forget that message. I forgot the person's name because I'm bad with names, but I know how to get to the message. I know who you are. But it just felt good. It really felt good. It felt good. Just seeing Liz, you posting as you post, like always, like tell you, I feel like you like found my secret like guest wish list for your podcast, to see you go ham just week after week, like, oh, you got that person, oh, you got that person, and then just talk about the things you were talking about on LinkedIn. It felt like almost like okay to post all the things I wanted to post on this platform in particular. So it just felt good. It felt good being with y'all, creating with y'all. Now, y'all gonna wrap up soon, but we can't talk about the past. I really want to hear what each of y'all are working on now. You don't have to give all the secrets away because I know y'all got things cooking. It's not ready to show just yet, but really curious. Whoever wants to go first. As you're thinking about the rest of this year, what are some things that you're excited to work on, do, create? What's top of your mind? What's going on with y'all live? Oh, let me call someone out. I'm gonna go with Jahmaal first.
All right. I try to keep my answers a little short, give everybody a chance to do what they got to do. Get that BL off me. Thank you. I'm just playing. Like, what in the world? So real quick, I do want to say I'm happy to just be here tonight to just kind of kick it. This conversation's been a little heavy, and I would say out of this whole group, Zephreen probably knows me the best offline, and then Tiffany definitely in the crowd. I'm a counselor, so this is what I do all day. So the heaviness, and also working in anti-slavery, anti-human trafficking. So me, I'm coming here with just joy, high energy, because at some point you got to just snap from that. And I try to keep it short and sweet. But I've just had fun. I've had fun to be able to have an impact and have fun doing it. It's nothing like being in a state of flow, bringing your story, bringing the highs, the lows, the victories, and the failures. And so the rest of this year, I'm excited to bring Listen and Speak podcast back, because I went on a hiatus from it. So I have like 5 episodes in the hopper that haven't even been, haven't even hit the airwaves yet. And I'm excited to also do some solo episodes, to talk about colorism, to talk about racism, to talk about mental health, to talk about politics. There's so many people, I'm gonna say this, and I'll probably lose some followers, who think they know. I live right here in DC. Baby, don't believe what MSNBC, Fox, CNN, fake news, all of them. Don't be playing games. So it's gonna be some serious hot topics, because I hate seeing people get played by the elite. That's what started my brand. And it turned into something from mental health because I'm a counselor, but I'm like, oh, people are just getting played. This is bad. And people are using my skin to play folks. I'm like, oh no, we're not playing these games. We are not going to do this. You're not going to use me as a shield to be messing with folks. No, sir. Under the guise of loving people, under the guise of a certain hashtag, I'm like, no, either it really matters or it doesn't. Show me better than you can tell me. Policy. And so I'm really excited to get into that, to continue the newsletter, Listen and Speak. Why not? We're almost at 10,000 subscribers, and I just dropped 5 articles. So that's kind of crazy. So I'm excited for that to make a comeback. Excited to finally finish my TEDx application and become a TED speaker, and just continue taking clients. I've been given a lot of advice, like, Jahmaal, start doing groups. You're a teacher, but I'm a counselor, obviously, but by nature, said you can do a group. So whether to go group or corporate, we'll see. I don't want to give all the secrets away, but I'm really just excited to do that, and more importantly, still excited to keep living. I am super excited to keep living and keep being authentically me. And I think I shared in our going away group, and you heard this, Zephreen. You may have not heard this, maybe in the audio group. It's, when I was little, the trauma I dealt with. It's a reason why I'm a counselor. It's always like, don't be who you are, And now it's like, don't be too. If you're too professional, this is how professional should look. Or when I worked in the Midwest by myself for 8 years, don't be too Black, or don't be too Christian, or whatever that's supposed to look like. Everybody's looking to put a label on something. I'm like, look, I'm just going, I am maybe EME. I'm going to be me. If you don't like that me, find the biggest rock and kick it. Stub your toe on it. I'll pray for you. I just don't have time to fit myself into what somebody thinks I should look, sound, walk, talk, and act like. I can only be what God created me to be, and still continue to grow and evolve and affect change and lasting transformation, first on home front, and then as far as He'll let me stretch. So that's what I'm excited for. It's for Listen and Speak to continue to grow into what God has always intended to be, what He's given me, but more importantly, to live it offline, so that the words and the weight of that, because it's counseling, carries authority. Who cares about what happens online, your brand? I could make 7 figures. If I'm not living it offline, then what's the point? So that's me. I'm complete.
I feel that. Oh, y'all, make sure you hit the bell on Jamel's profile and check out the podcast too. I'm excited for all of that. And now, y'all, I got a surprise for y'all. But before we bring out that surprise, I want to read something off that Sally Wolf just shared. She shared that she is so grateful for all of you and your open, candid, authentic, and vulnerable shares. Looking forward to following your awesome and growing voices here. Thank you for your inspiration. And if I can be helpful in any way, I'm a well-being coach with the focus on positive psychology. And we need more of that, Sally. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Appreciate you. Well, I'll say appreciate you, Sally. She put that. All right, y'all. So throughout this conversation, there's been a name that's been floating on. Everyone's kind of brought this person's name up, and it's really cool because they have a presence on LinkedIn, but I feel like there's someone who moves in the shadows. Like, we don't always know. Like, you hear this name, Xander. Who is that? Who is that? He's like the ghost of LinkedIn, who's not dead. He's very live, well, and out there, coming through on the Fridays with the good vibes and all these things. So, y'all, welcome to the stage, Xander Van Gogh. Xander, how you doing today, man?
Yo, gang, what's the deal? What up? Oh, Liz, don't you be doing that. Don't be doing that. Marlo, what up, Maul, what? Zephreen, what's up, my baby?
That's
How you
good.
doing, man? Yo, what's poppin'?
Yo.
I just I was like, yo, let me pop in. I've been on the road today. So I was like, oh, I saw the message. Oh, this was today. And I was like, as soon as I popped in and saw the message, I was like, yo, I gotta come say what up and see if they still here. So what up to the chat? What up to everybody out there? If you guys have been enjoying like the conversation today, I'm just now catching up. Can we get like a hashtag thank you for like Walt, Liz, Jahmaal, Marlo, and Zephreen for keeping it popping already? It'd be dope to see how many people are actually still with us and active and seeing what's up. But yo, what's popping, y'all? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. We've had an interesting conversation of just healing and feeling and being human. It's been really dope. I don't think it was necessarily part of the plan, but some of these things just come up organically when just talking about the real life of being a creator. And so, oh, shout out to you, Lou. I see you down there. Um, just from your perspective, because you weren't a creator, but the creator manager, Mr. LinkedIn himself. What was this program like for you?
Uh, it was a huge learning lesson, I think, for me. Um, learning a lot about people who are creating on LinkedIn already at a highly effective rate, those who are just getting started, and the people that kind of fit in between. It was really cool to see, like, from the outside perspective, I would say, of like watching people grow, the things they learn about themselves as humans. I think we all had a journey to where we were able to not just get better with our content, but I think develop as people. From a lot of the conversations I was able to have one on one with folks, collectively in groups, even with large people, I think the one thing that was a trending thing throughout the entire process was like, yo, I'm learning a lot and I'm moving a ton, and not just learning a lot about content, but I'm learning how to navigate handling this quote unquote job in a sense while going through life and all the emotions that come with creating content, because it can be very personal. And I think overall, one thing that I was able to really learn and see on the outside looking in is that, when we're doing our jobs in the day to day, it is very easy to separate job and regular life. When you're creating content and you're doing it at a rapid rate, it's almost very difficult because there's this buzzword that I think we all hear about being authentic. And to be authentic, you got to show up as your true self. And sometimes you have to be vulnerable and put things out there that you may not normally share with everyone. And I think like with that, I was able to see like a lot of development. And I think us as a team, on the inside at LinkedIn, and speaking just for myself personally, especially dealing with the cohort I had, which was 11 or 12 amazing individuals, it was really cool to see how every single person developed and got better in some way, and also challenged themselves in some ways too. So I think like the big word for me was human development through content. I think there's so much that we can learn as we continue to put ourselves out there, through our content, that ultimately when we take the time to actually reflect the same way we do for our data to see what our audience wants, I think we also start to see the evolution of ourselves, our personality, our mindset, our perspective, and how we share our emotions as well as what we deem to be important or what we deem to be value that we give off to the world. So it was really, really cool to see that mesh and that blend, especially like now, because like even at work, with us working from home, there's this line of people are trying to figure out, what do I share that's personal and what do I share that is like more work stuff, but you're starting to see all of it kind of blend together. So that was like one really big thing I pulled away from it. I'm curious to know from, I guess, other panelists if they felt a little bit of the same thing throughout the journey too, of just noticing it. I know I spoke with some of you individually, but I'd be curious to know if I'm kind of hitting in the right realm as well.
What do y'all think?
Absolutely. For my whole life blended together by the end of the program. And then I had to decide, okay, how do I want to go forward? I mean, I will, and when you're talking about vulnerability and showing up as your whole self, I'm definitely, well, I don't know what the age range was, but I know as a Black woman growing up, showing up as myself was not what I was taught to do. So that was also a learning curve for the program. I remember, Xander, you showed a video of you getting your hair braided, and I just like stared for a while, because like getting your hair braided in the Black community is a thing, and like you want to protect people asking questions and all this stuff. So I'll be on, like, that was at the beginning of the program. I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing, huh? Okay, we braiding hair on LinkedIn. Okay, you want to see me then, right? And so for me, it was a deeply, I shared this earlier, that for me, this was an illumination for thoughts I had about myself, how I viewed myself as a Black woman, as a creator, trying to show up. And so that began to blend. My content started to reflect that. And like I said, all of the creators here, they have content that impacted me when I read their story or learned about them, because it was semi-personal too. So yeah, that it all blended together. That was not, nobody warned us about that part.
That's really cool. That's crazy that you say that, because like I think I remember when I did that. That was like my second day of my 30-day content challenge, and I was like just getting my hair braided in Miami, and I was like, dog, I need something, but I know she's gonna be fire, so I'm about to put this on there. But it's such a thing though, right? Because like that is who I am. You know, like I showed up to work, and I remember this was like a few years ago, and I remember actually getting cornrows and wearing them to work, and it was like the first time I got my hair braided and done that. And I had so many people come up to me and be like, yo, like, thank you. I was like, for what? It was like, you took this shot and you got your hair braided and you wore it to work. Like, I would have never ever done that. And seeing you do that allows me to feel different here. It allows me to feel like that this is a place of home. And you know, I went off the deep end. I got it blonde and it was platinum and I had platinum braids. So I was going crazy. But still, at the same time, it was just like, yo, that's me. And I think what's so important about like when you show up as yourself and your content, the opportunities that come are for you. And like that's the one thing that I've noticed so much about like just being myself and my content, is that when people approach me for opportunities, whether it's like to monetize or they want to talk to me about different potential jobs or things like that, it's always catered and fit to like what they see in the content, and they know how to approach me. Because if they don't, they know that more than likely, if I'm not going to be able to be myself, then it's not necessarily something that I probably will take. So I think that's like one real interesting thing about that as well. And, you know, I've been having some conversations with some of teammates and other creators recently, and they're like, well, showing up as yourself is harder said than done. And I'm like, you're right. It really is. You're absolutely correct. But when I think about content, I think about it as like chess and not checkers. And it's like, yo, like if I show up as myself now and I'm consistent with that, the things that will come and the things that will find me, the people that will follow me will be my people. And that's what's most important, because having those true fans, those true opportunities will ultimately allow me to shine at such a higher level and a higher rate, because I'm not thinking about how I should be in the job. I just show up as myself. And ultimately, like, you still crush it and you do really well, but you're able to even see more as you continue to develop in it too. So thanks for sharing that, Zephreen. That's really crazy, because I never would have thought that would have affected people that way. So now I'm about to continue to do more of that type of stuff and find ways to relate it. So that's fire.
Hey.
Nah, yo, mic drop for that, man. Showing up as like you, and like whoever on your job says like, or the LinkedIn people say it's easier said than done. It is, but it's so freeing when we do it. I'm looking at everybody on this panel, and like everyone here just shows up as them with their story, that their background, their flavor, and it really does. It's like I think sometimes because you hear so much on this platform about how to provide value, people are trying to attract other people's audiences. It's like that's not your audience. That's not your crew, boo. You got to find your people. And I'm telling you, that's the one thing about Accelerator, because it was so I remember, like, because all of us have those gifts of speaking. You can, when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And it directed me, even though I was already making money on the side, taking clients, it directed me more, speak to my people, speak to the mental health group, because for a while I alienated myself from that group, because sometimes, the Zephreen, you know how they are. The counselors can be a little sanctimonious and the Christians can be even worse. I'm like, baby, You live real life. You just got through fussing with your husband. Please don't show up here like that with this little thirsty selfie. Stop it. I've even had people come into my DMs. You may want to say it a little. No, Christianity is, you don't read your Bible. Read your Bible. And so it just helped me to show up as me, inner city dude from Good Hope and 25th. This is who I am. And I'm a counselor. I'm not a coach. I am a counselor. And so it helped me to take the thing about people talk about the way you provide value, you become a part of the noise. I was able to break away from that noise because I don't show up like all other counselors do. It's just this perfect background and all my credentials on the wall and just this soft little voice. I can sound like this if you want me to all the time. But no, we ain't playing them type of games, boo. This is life and death. People commit suicide out here. So I don't have time for that. Showing up as me, and I started my job with cornrows in 2003 at the Department of Justice, the United States whole Federal Bureau of Prisons. So Z, yeah, it does set a lot of people on the director's floor. Only black kid up there with cornrows and 2-strand twists, plaits, all that good stuff. And wearing some Converse when my feet got tired. So it's like sometimes you gotta pioneer. And so that's one thing. Just listen to Zeph. And as a farmer, like you're the first black girl farmer that I've interacted with, not just online, because I don't, Z, and Elizabeth, you starting to get to know, and Walsh, I don't really do the online whole fair weather thing. It's nice, but it's kind of fake. Offline, that's where you're gonna really get me. And I'm loving the fact, I'm like, yo, it's a lot of black girl farmers out there killing and crushing the game. And so for me, this has also been a time to get to know content creators I didn't even know existed. I haven't had much interaction with Marlo because I never saw his stuff. When I wasn't dropping my stuff in a little WhatsApp group, maybe once or twice, I was like, y'all doing too much over here. But when I saw his stuff, I was like, yo, this is legit. I'm from the inner city. I came from LA. We lived in Inglewood. So I love that edge, but that professionalism. And so your vibe really does attract your tribe. And it's nothing to struggle with. I don't want to attract someone else's tribe. What God has for you really is for you. So there's something about when you and Zeph was talking, Z, that just lit a fire because I'm so tired of seeing people trying to create content for their friends instead of the people that God called them to. It's like when you're talking about money, you're not going to be able to monetize trying to get Liz's people or Walt's people. Find your own. Let them have their own. Do you, boo? It really does work, and it really is free.
And you can do it with 10 people too. You don't even need hundreds, thousands.
Speak on it.
Do it 10. Man, y'all got me wanting to just dive in all these other conversations, but in a moment of authenticity, it's getting late for me, y'all. I'm a little hungry. But I'm not about to leave without giving everyone a chance to talk about the things that got going on coming up. Jahmaal, we got to hear about what you're working on next. Zephreen, I want to hear from you next. What is something you're working on or something you're excited about that's happening this year?
So I'm really excited. It is officially farm season Thursday. I start getting into the lavender. So you'll see all my videos, or a lot of my videos will either be from my actual backyard or the lavender at Denver Botanic Gardens. And so I'm just excited to be out there. Like my energy just goes up. And that's what my husband will say. That's why I built her that farm, because literally there was no antidepressant that she ever took that farm could ever do. So he was out there, building that farm with his hands to make sure I could do that. So that's what I'm excited about. It's farming. I will continue to have content around farm businesses. I am currently in a design program. That's what we're going to call it. And to all of you talking about, you will find your tribe. That is what our facilitator tells us all the time. And by being yourself. And so y'all just made my night. Y'all know I almost couldn't come. And so y'all made my night and reminded me to stay true to myself. So that's what I'm excited about the future, is taking these illuminations and acting on them, and then continuing, of course, the relationships here. Like I said, that has really been the change for my business opportunities and my mental health more than anything. Like Jahmaal said, it really is serious out here. And if I didn't have people right here on this platform who were able to hold space as I navigated a difficult time, then I wouldn't even be here having this conversation. So I'm excited to continue to amplify that message too. So, yeah. And come to more of your shows, Walter, because this is not one or done. Okay, like that. I'm also excited about the future of more Walter shows. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
ghosting
Nah, I
us and
can't.
all kind of stuff. Mm-mm.
I cannot, y'all.
Leaving
Full
us on
transparency.
red.
I shared that. Yeah, I'm gonna do these with like different people, and they were like, "What? What? Y'all gonna leave me?" Nah. So, yeah, definitely have to create more with y'all specifically. Definitely gonna have let that happen because y'all are dope. Marlo, and also yeah, one other thing, I'm excited to share. Like as we're building our like garden in the backyard, I'm excited to share more pics with you. So, yeah, Marlo, what's coming on in your world? What are you working on that you're excited about?
Yo, yo. You know, um, Asian Pacific American Heritage Month is coming up, and
Mhm.
I'm just lining up all my pieces of content. And Liz, you're one of my inspirations of the way you approach your content, and so I'm gonna see if I could do a little bit of that, but with the Asian Pacific American lens. There's definitely a lot to be said in terms of the history of Asian Pacific Americans in America. So I'm getting my content all together for that. Um, Number two, I'm working for growth for my company. So I'm trying to hit a certain goal by Q4 of how much revenue I want to generate. And it's been exciting being in LinkedIn because I'm seeing people that are solopreneurs, and that's like a new word for me. That's like a new term. I've never heard of a solopreneur until I was really on LinkedIn and seeing people crush it as solopreneurs. And so I'm embracing that completely with that model, just embracing that because I started off once with like 6 employees, and running small business is tough, especially in Silicon Valley. And so a lot of things have changed. And so I used to think that like, oh man, I don't have my studio anymore. I'm no longer legit. And suddenly the world transformed, and it's okay to have low or no overhead. It's okay to just have like 10 contractors around you. And so I'm really wanting to embrace that and hit a certain benchmark for Q4. Q1, because of all the posts and everything that happened with this year. It could also be because that we're all coming out of the pandemic. But just to share, not to flex, but just for those that are thinking of being a solopreneur, I was able to generate 80K for the first quarter, and I connect that all because of LinkedIn, just telling my story, sharing my work. And before I used to try to do that on Instagram, different kinds of funnels, but because of LinkedIn and this solopreneur attitude, I've been able to achieve that. So I want to continue to find growth in that. The third thing is I want to continue to find opportunities that see myself as like a person of value. And what I mean by that, sometimes I'm not seen as an expert, and that's really kind of like an issue because it's just like, yeah, I've been a content creator, I've been a filmmaker, and so I'm trying to see where can I find other opportunities where I can be completely heading towards that pathway of director of content, head of content, maybe one day when I grow some gray hair, be a VP of marketing or a chief creative officer. So I'm keeping my trajectory on what kind of opportunities can take me there. Um, so, and with that said, I'm applying for my executive MBA. So I'm looking forward to that. My application is due in 2 days. So I want to continue to learn. I want to continue to expand my skill sets, and really the Creator Accelerator program showed me this whole other, possibilities and horizons. Just inspiring people across the country got me thinking about, wow, I can actually, grow and look at different trajectories, and so it's been a great experience. I, uh, I find out the end of this week if I get this grant to tell stories in San Jose about how the system's failing homeless people. And so, short term wise, I hope I get that grant and be able to, provide information of what's happening and why the system is failing and why people aren't able to be housed in one of the most expensive places in the country, and how we have a place where we could solve anything or have innovation and figure out solutions, but we still can't figure that out. And so those are the short term projects. Those are my long term projects, and looking forward to continuing to be a part of this LinkedIn community.
Mm. Man, yo, this gonna be a big year for you. That's what's up. That's a lot of stuff. Starting next week is May, right? Okay, y'all. Make sure you're tuning in to everything Marlo's doing starting next month. Xander, you're it's really cool because you're entering into this new I actually know what you're allowed to say, what not. So I'm gonna let you speak for yourself. What are you
Go
excited?
ahead. What you gonna say? Tee me up. Tee me up.
I was gonna say you went from y'all. First off, this whole program like inspired by Xander for real. I don't know who all was in the program. I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes at LinkedIn, but you sharing some of your early experiences at the company and just seeing the growth of the creator presence on LinkedIn is impacted by you, and now you went from you were a creator manager for this program and into this whole new creator role experience, just like leading the way for real. So, what's something this year that you're working on that you were really excited about?
A couple of things. I think this new role I'm in, I'm pretty excited about. It's pretty interesting in terms of being able to help, I think, members in general on LinkedIn understand that they can be creators. I think it's like a weird right now where it's like I can only be a content creator if I write or if I make videos or whatever. But like really, we all have something to say. So it's like, are you gonna share it in your own way? So trying to find ways to, the same level of support that we were able to give you all directly one-on-one, like finding ways to do that at scale to like help members realize that like it's okay to create content on this platform, and it's actually very professional and it's part of like your job, and not for a sense of like that you need to create for your job, but your first job always the job of yourself, and how you personally brand yourself is so important, and not necessarily for the sake of you being an expert or anything like that, but the more you're able to put yourself out there and tell your story, the more opportunities come your way. And I think with each of us, that's one thing, especially in the community I come from. It's like having opportunity is like a dime a dozen, and some of us get it, some of us don't. And now that I'm in a position to where like I can understand like how content can give you so much opportunity, I want to help people see that. So that's really big. The other thing, man, I'm working on these shoes, dude. So like I'm doing these prototype of this shoe line of women's heels, and more importantly, a product that helps the heels be comfortable for up to 72 hours. So like that's like one really big thing that I'm excited for and working on. And then also just trying to learn more about like finances, like real estate, and more about stock. I've always like been in it, but I want to learn how to strategize around it to just like give myself opportunity to be more flexible. So those are some big things. And then also I think the big thing, that the last thing, the fourth pillar is like finding the best way for me to be more of a presence from not just behind the scenes. I've always been the person where I would tell people that like, yo, I never want to be president, but I'll be the best vice president ever. I love to support the people that want to be the face, but I think it's time for me to find a way to be comfortable, not necessarily being out in front, but being next to the people that are in the front and being one of those voices and faces that show up more. Because you never know the impact you have on people. And sometimes it's not about hitting a home run. It's just like, yo, if you just get on base and hit a single and like you tell people that like this is your story, you never know who that can impact. Like even today, I had no idea that video, Z, like no idea that impacted you that way. And it's like crazy because it's just those little moments to where it's like, dang, dude, you never know who's watching. And I think that's something that I need to just take more into consideration and share the story, because I've been able to do some things, that I don't think is like crazy or rare, but a lot of people never really thought that it could be possible. And sharing that story, hopefully it gives other people, um, the exposure to know that they can do it too. So that's something I'm trying to step more into as well.
I love that. Yeah, you never really know what exactly it is that's gonna like help someone out too. Like tying your shoes. That's well, I hope everyone knows how to tie their shoes, but to a child, that's impressive, right? Like there's
Mhm.
like the little things that we just do, other people find helpful. So I'm really glad you're in this position to do that. I'm excited. I'm gonna be taking notes too. Liz, what's something you're working on now, or something coming up soon that you're really excited about?
I'm continuing to lean into the idea of storytelling. I think I spent a lot of 2020 and 2021 in a state of mourning and a little bit of grief about what I thought America was and then what I wanted it to be. And then I just started to think about, well, what are the things that I have control over? And I'm able to amplify the voices of other people because I was able to raise my voice so loudly in 2020 and 2021 that I wanted to share my platform and create space to tell stories. I believe in the African tradition, the oral literature. They came to Africa, they kidnapped us and told us we didn't have religion, we didn't have history, we didn't have literature, but we did. We passed down stories from generation to generation. And some of those traditions, like braiding hair and cooking. Marlo talked about cooking rice, right? Because we're all connected across the diaspora, and all of us, Black and Brown folk, all have unique stories and traditions that we share. And my podcast, Black History Culture Academy, was like the initial like teaching, and then my podcast, Black Power Moves, became, let me take an extension of history and culture and talk about people that are making history today, people that are actually getting it and are really like trailblazers, but we would never know their story if we just literally, everyone that I've connected with, that I've done a podcast episode with, are people that I connect with on LinkedIn. And I'm just being real, like, what is the word? I'm just like sliding in people DMs, being real, just like sneaky. And I'm just like, hey, what's up? What you trying to do? You trying to come on my podcast? And it's weird because I think Xander said it, and Walter kind of said the same thing. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who's looking at you and is embracing your content, looking at your content, is impacted by your content. And my goal is just to continue. I've put out about 100 episodes since January, and I want to just continue to do that. I'm recording like 10 episodes a week because I get compulsive when it comes to some of this stuff, because I feel like there's so many stories that need to be told. Ebony is doing some, it's on the Ebony Podcast Network, so they're starting to do national promo. So I want to continue to build my voice beyond social media, into mainstream media, into global media. I'll go to, hey, Elon Musk, you want to send me to Mars? I'll go on the moon and speak my truth there. I just feel like I just need to be able to tell stories that impact Black folk and amplify our voices and make sure that our stories get told. I'm writing a book. The book is coming out in January with a small independent publisher here in Miami. And it's about, same thing, Black women's voices and empowering ourselves and making sure that we use our voices and we're not afraid of imposter syndrome and microaggressions and some of the things that tend to stifle our ability to be productive as we navigate predominantly white spaces. So those are two things that I really hope to continue to do, and to continue to use my voice and my platform in a way that really is not for me. It's for everybody. It's for the community. It's for the Black culture. It's for empowerment. It's for pride. It's for us to just rise and continue to do so.
That's what's up. I'm looking forward to seeing you on New York Times bestseller. That's what's up. Y'all doing some really cool things. Excited. Everyone, y'all. Oh, well, I guess I gotta talk about me too. And actually, I was going back and forth with myself on this throughout this whole thing. I'm about to share with y'all my submission video because I think it's kind of just a great way to share where my focus is. When you think about authenticity, transparency, all that stuff, I did not want to share this. I even created, put together. I still was like, oh, I don't know. It's like, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and tee it up. My submission video talking about the concept for the program, and then afterwards, I'm gonna share a little bit about what's happening next with me. Do you remember that first interview after college? Like the nerves and the butterflies you felt in your stomach as you try to remember the top 10 interview tips you found online? Well, for me, I felt those same nerves, but also felt extremely insecure when I couldn't find any career advice designed for Black people who were feeling discouraged. And it turns out I wasn't the only one with that problem. As soon as I started asking questions, I found myself building a community of people who wanted to be that missing resource for the Black community. And that's why I'm applying to this Creator Accelerator program. It's really just unbelievable the power of a support system, like what it could do for people. And I want to thank you for providing me the opportunity to be that support system. Yo, I've not watched that video since I recorded it in like September or whatever it was. In my mind, I said something completely different, but it's also cool just looking back at it because I think during the program I felt like I had kind of lost my way in a way as far as what I wanted to talk about. And I still was talking about, I think, through like these live streams, had Liz on, Zephreen on, just really digging into like the Black experience in their world, but wanted to do more of that. So for me, moving forward is doing exactly what I've been doing, but just going really harder in the whole like feeling discouraged, like really providing career advice, helping people live their best life. And I feel like right now there's a lot of people aren't happy where they are right now, and I want to help people kind of get to that place where they're feeling good, whether it's at a better job, kind of in a higher position, exploring entrepreneurship, content creation, just more of that, really creating that support system as well. In fact, that's one of my biggest projects right now, is really building out this whole like research report, kind of just documenting people's journeys, experience, and what's kind of missing from missing in their like professional environments or in their life, and kind of that gap, that thing that they need to get to the next step, and then from there, just like I'm giving y'all the whole blueprint, y'all. So they're just like conferences and all these things, but just kind of starting with asking questions and digging deeper into the experience. So that's what's next for me. In addition to that, I'm really excited about just being a part of things like Marketing for the Culture Summit happening in 2 weeks. Get your tickets, really dope event by African American Marketing Association here in Atlanta at the Gathering Spot, another Black owned place. I'm really excited. The whole lineup is crazy, y'all. So I'm gonna have to keep posting about it so y'all see more of it. But just excited about everything. Excited to continue to create with people, being here, doing these lives, doing the audio rooms, which are really dope. Just keep on keeping on. So that's all from me, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna end it. Feel free to stay for a few more seconds if you can. But before we go, any last words you want to share before we close it all out?
I just want to give you a great shout out for having great lighting in your video. Bro, like Z can tell you, my video looked literally like this with this little pink light in the back. So, but let's just tell y'all how good God is, because that's how my video looked and LinkedIn took me. My content was fire, but this is how I did my video. I did it in this room with doing selfie mode. I mean, you had a whole professional setup, good light and everything. I'm like, look at him. I was in
Hey.
here just like, yo, this is what I'm gonna talk about. I did a 60-second video, and I was like, all right, God, fix it, Jesus. We'll see what
Yeah, I've learned how to make duct tape look good.
I'm trying to
Um,
tell you. That's grassroots,
yo,
baby. So shout out to
grassroots.
you.
Yo. Shout out for you to be for being just authentic with it too, right? Not letting something like lighting get in the way. You're still doing it, still doing that fire content.
It's kind of like what Liz said earlier. Like when you get obsessive about something and you know you want to speak to it, like headspace is so important to me. Where the mind goes, the body will follow. And there's so many professionals on this platform right now. They show up as heroes in the comment section, but they are contemplating suicide even as we speak. So my mind and my heart was just like, you know what? I don't care what this video looks like. I got to get this out there. If they take it, they do. If they don't, they won't. Maybe somebody else will. And so that's a word that I got in January. It's just like God gave it to me with whatever you believe. It was like you're a David amongst Goliaths. You may be the smallest dude in the room. You ain't got the latest, greatest technology, the biggest mic, the biggest computer. You just shoot your shot. I'll make sure it finds its intended target. That has been my testimony since I came on this platform. I've never come with the latest, greatest technology. I just come with what I've got, and God's amplified it. Even this very laptop, this very mic, all this was sponsored. My whole space of listening and speak. I don't pay for my web space. It's like I didn't find my niche. My niche found me, which is so crazy. It's crazy. So I just want to anybody under the sound of my voice who see this play back, man, you be you. We talked a lot about being authentically you. Even it's hard. Marlo's his content, even though he's behind the scenes, is hard. What Z is doing, pioneering, is hard. What Liz is doing, it's heavy. What Zeph is doing, it's like it's new and it's fresh. She's like, I've been doing this for years. So she is a pioneer in a sense. And she's coming from a very heavy background. What you're doing is heavy in the workplace. People don't want to hear that, but it's going to make room for you. A man's gift makes room for him. I'm living proof. And like Marlo said, the receipts do come. And when they come, that's just an added bonus. I'm so glad that none of these youths on here be on here talking about money. Real wealth whispers. Money is always talking. So may God make us all wealthy so we can affect global change. That's me.
Nice. One thing I just wanted to say, thanks, Walt, for putting this together. This is dope. It's good seeing a lot of you all. I'll be in your inbox soon to catch up with y'all on some one-on-ones. Maybe I kind of missed y'all. Maybe I do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna hit y'all up and see what's up. And then Zeph,
Stop it. You know you miss us. Stop the madness already and stop
all right,
playing.
you got me. You got me. Okay, I miss you. So I'm gonna hit y'all up. And Zeph, we've never spoken before one-on-one, so we'll love the opportunity to do so. But first and foremost, Walt, thanks for putting this together, man. This was super dope.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's great catching up with y'all. And yo, I'm gonna be in y'all's comments just fanboying it up like yo whole time. And Tiffany, yo, you just dope. I love this energy. Now these are great people to be friends with, man. The support is just like unmatched. And Jamal, gotta shout you out because you're the reason Tiffany and I know each other. We had a dope conversation. Man, it's probably weeks ago. Time flies, man. Time flies. But yo, loving everything that I'm hearing. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate everyone watching. Not gonna do a live next week because I'm gonna be doing some in-person media stuff. And but y'all catch me afterwards. I'll still be here. DM me. All right, y'all. Have a good night, good evening. Y'all can stick around in the back room in a second, but peace to everyone watching. Take care.
Grace and peace.